Hello, work life warriors. I hope you're doing well. Today, I wanted to come past and do another book review. I've been so busy this month, I have not been able to do my book reviews. But today, we're talking about Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I love this book. I've read it maybe once or twice before. It's a really good book. I'm about halfway through it, so you'll probably get another video or two from me about the overall direction that I get from the book and how I incorporate it into my life. But today, I want to talk about in chapter 2, it says debunk the vulnerability myth. It says vulnerability isn't good or bad. It is not what we call a dark emotion, nor is it always a light, positive experience. Vulnerability is the core of all emotions and feelings. To feel is to be vulnerable. To believe vulnerability is weakness is to believe that feeling is weakness. To foreclose on our emotional life out of fear that the cost will be too high is to walk away from the very thing that gives purpose and meaning to living. Absolutely. We are taught that feelings and emotion are weak. Men are taught not to have any at all, to shut them down, to suppress them. Women are said to be emotional as if that's a bad thing because we feel our emotions. But we live overall in a society that doesn't seem to cater to emotions or think that they're appropriate or think that they should be something that should be understood and addressed. And so we tend to shut down our emotions. We tend to not be vulnerable. We admire the tyrants of our, of the neighborhoods, of the institutions, of our places where we work. We kind of think that to withdraw yourself and not have connections to people, that means that you're strong to be able to, run and walk all over people and be a shark or a wolf is, how you become successful. And we stop to think that, well, we stop thinking at a young age, probably, I'm going to say probably before middle school, but definitely before high school, we stop thinking that emotions or being emotional or vulnerable matters. And so we tend to hide ourselves and shut down a very big part of our experience. And then so much time passes and we wake up and then we realize, like, where have I been? I'm numb. Either we are too numb to wake up, or we wake up midway and we go, what have I been doing all of this time? I've not been feeling. I've just been existing. I have not been living. I've not, because I'm so afraid of what can happen, the bad or the negative things that can happen. I just shut down my experiences or the vulnerable part of feeling, which means that you can't have one without the other. You cannot feel happiness, joy, peace, love intensely if you are shutting down, feeling anything negative, whether you're running from, pain, disgust, disappointment, anger, resentment. All of these emotions come with life, and to have the courage to feel, to be vulnerable is exactly what living is about, is exactly what will make your life authentic and improve the quality of your life. But we're so afraid because we think that we're fragile and that we could be easily broken that we shut down. We had this traumatic, painful experience somewhere in life, maybe several, and we think, I don't want to feel that anymore. And this hurts really badly. I learned my lesson. I'll never do that again. And we tend to shut down and numb ourselves and withdraw. But what we don't realize is in doing those things, we are also shut down and withdrawn from the positive things, or feeling, happiness, joy, peace, love, all of the beautiful emotions intensely, or just feeling them at all because we may be numb because we are too afraid to be vulnerable. We're too afraid to process the emotions that we feel that come with everyday life, that come with, trying and failing, of having goals and dreams, of, expanding, stretching, growing. We just would rather stay in our comfort zone and go through the motions just because it doesn't really require for us to put ourselves out there where we can get hurt or make a mistake or look foolish. And trust me, I know what it feels like to look foolish. It is not a good feeling to feel disappointed in yourself, or to feel like what you've done, or you showing the capacity to feel, has changed how other people perceive you. It can be very painful, especially since human beings are social creatures. But to have a quality of life worth experiencing, worth living, where you're not just numbing yourself, where you're not just going through the motions, where you're not existing, where you're not feeling, depressed, or anxiety about tomorrow or the next event or the next thing you're doing, where you're really just in the flow, requires for you to be able, or to know that you have the capacity to deal with whatever feelings you're feeling, whether it doesn't feel good or if it feels amazing. You are created to feel. And so you really shouldn't run away from the very thing that is the human experience, which is the thinking and the feeling. Feeling is so important. And just like, two sides of the same coin, there are things that feel good, but there are things that feel bad. But what we don't realize is that so much of our growth and development comes from the bed. So many of the beautiful things that help us grow, become the people that we want, learn our best lessons, our juiciest um, revelations come from the bad. And so we don't necessarily want to run from the bad. We don't want our experience to be all good all the time. It would be boring. It wouldn't even be worth it. We wouldn't try. The bad is what gives, life meaning in addition to the good. And you cannot shut one off without the other. And I know so many people who are afraid of vulnerability. They think it is a weakness. I never believe vulnerability is a weakness. I'm a very vulnerable person. If I'm upset, you'll know. If I'm, happy, you'll know. If I'm sad, you'll know. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to cry in front of people. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable, to feel, because that is a part of the human experience. And I've always been that way. Other people around me do tend to think that that's weakness because I'm open and vulnerable enough to express how I'm feeling. We are taught that we're supposed to wear a mask, to put on a facade, that other people are never supposed to know how you're feeling. But how can people change their actions and treat you better and show up better if they don't even know that what they're doing is affecting you? It is one thing to say that hurts, and it's another thing to show that it hurts. And I think that the problem in society is we keep having the conversation talking about that it hurts, but we do not show that it hurts, because no one wants to look weak. No one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to, show what their sore spots are. But how can we grow? How can we challenge each other? How can we stretch and move towards a purpose and a passion that can help everyone if everybody is showing up wearing masks, having a facade on, not being their authentic self, not being open and vulnerable, pushing down their feelings, not saying how they really feel and what they really think? How can we ever progress? And we do a very, very poor job in that. And those people who tend to show vulnerability, it's perceived poorly by those who are basically intolerant of invulnerability, of being vulnerable. And it is, received or praised or even admired for people who wish that they could be more vulnerable in life, to be more authentic, because there is no way to have an authentic experience or to be authentic if you are afraid to feel. Feeling is essential to being human. And so it's not even really something that you have to do. It is something that you go through life doing. It is automatic. It's a give and take. It's a relationship between you and the world that you're in. And so how you feel about your experiences in the world that you're in, and the people that you meet, and the things that you consume, all creates, the experience that you're having, the quality of life that you're having. And so it's in your best interest, everyone's best interest, to show up vulnerable, to really show people, how you're feeling, when it hurts, when you're feeling strong, when you're feeling weak, to show all facets of emotions, not just one or two that make you look good, trying to control the narrative because you want to be known as wise or witty or strong or or popular, or whatever it is you want to be known as. you only show those emotions within that capacity so that it influence the narrative of who people think you are. That's not genuine, it's not authentic, and it's not living the quality life. And one thing that, again, I've always lived authentic and vulnerable. But once I learned that, it wasn't a weakness, because people would tell me it was a weakness. I had family members call me, weak because I would show emotions. But once I realized that it wasn't a weakness and it was actually the greatest strength, anybody could pretend that they're not hurt. Anybody could pretend they don't feel anything, that it's not affecting them. But to be open and transparent and vulnerable, and show up and show that it is affecting you, it is hurting you, that here's an opportunity for growth, is the strongest thing that anybody could ever do. To me, um strong and easy in this sense are, the opposites. So strong would be to show up and be vulnerable, and the easiest thing to do is to hide what you're really feeling, and to hide that you even have feelings at all, to pretend that nothing bothers you. But you can't continually live like that. That is not sustainable. It will eventually affect your health and well-being. Your quality of life will decrease, and overall life won't be exciting anymore, enjoyable anymore. You'll feel anxiety about being out and about in the world, because you're always trying to hide and control the narrative and not be vulnerable and show up a certain way, because this is how you want people to view you. So I really love this book. When I do get a chance to read it and it's calling out to me, I always pick it up. It's such a great book. This is just the first video I'm going to do, and I will do a few others. So what do you think about vulnerability? What do you think about the passage that Brene Brown, Dr. Brene Brown, what do you think about what she said? How does vulnerability show up or not show up in your life? How do you think your quality of life is improved or decreased based on how vulnerable you are? So again, I really like the idea of everybody showing up vulnerable, and therefore we can help it. We can help to sharpen each other, and make some necessary adjustments to add some much needed value into the world. So I hope this helps, work life warriors. Reading is so beneficial to you. Make sure you are exercising your brain daily, if not weekly. I would definitely say at the bare minimum, monthly, you should be reading a book, just to kind of give your brain the workout. We have so much stimulus from everywhere that is so important just to sit down in a quiet space and work your brain out and let it improve so many things in your body, because it has so many health and wellness benefits attached to just reading, including decrease in stress. So I hope this helps, work life warriors. Have a great day.